Is there anything quite as fascinating as the idea of a lost civilization buried beneath the polar ice of Antarctica? It stirs the imagination. Indeed, the lost civilization of Antarctica has been the focus of many a tale. Cult horror author, H.P. Lovecraft, wrote a novella, At the Mountains of Madness, about a disastrous expedition to the Antarctic continent in 1930, which discovered ancient alien ruins and a dangerous secret, part of his larger Cthulhu Mythos. Lovecraft had been fascinated with the Antarctic continent since he was at least 12 years old, when he had written several small treatises on early Antarctic explorers. Biographer St. Joshi wrote. The beginning, Operation Highjump. Richard E. Byrd's first expedition took place in 1928 to 1930, right before the novella was written, and Lovecraft mentioned the explorer repeatedly in his letters, remarking at one point on geologists of the Byrd expedition having found many fossils indicating a tropical past. Lovecraft's fictional expedition was modeled after Byrd's. Between 1946 and 1947, Byrd and his team carried out a large-scale operation called Highjump, during which he discovered and mapped 1,390,000 square kilometers of the Antarctic territory. This U.S. Navy operation included 4,700 men, 13 ships, and 33 aircraft. One piece of evidence suggesting that the Earth is hollow is Admiral Byrd's alleged diary from 1947. Historical background: the Russian documentary. A 2006 Russian documentary Third Reich, Operation UFO explored the rumors of a secret Nazi base in Antarctica, as well as a 1947 flying saucer attack on Admiral Byrd's ill-fated Operation Highjump expedition. As the story goes, high-level occult Nazis fled to a pre-existing underground base in Antarctica as they were losing the war. American elites already knew of this and sent Admiral Byrd's expedition to the scene to investigate. Dr. Stephen Greer has outlined the chain of secret historical events that have since unfolded over the decades, in an epic 4-hour presentation. Early disclosure: Stargate SG-1. The television series Stargate SG-1, 1997 to 2007, explored the theme of an alien civilizations leaving ancient remains and technology on Earth. The televised film, Stargate: Continuum, had the Stargate team excavating an ancient alien outpost in Antarctica. It has been suggested that the Stargate series, and its spin-offs, were a deliberate source of selective disclosure of the secret space programs. Breakaway civilization whistleblower Corey Goode has described wormhole technologies used by the SSP and extraterrestrial civilizations, built by a highly advanced, ancient civilization which resembles the technology depicted in Stargate SG-1. A partial disclosure. According to Corey Goode and David Wilcock, a partial disclosure plan, which they suggest is being considered by the global elite, would involve 3 key revelations, perhaps in different stages. 1. A formal, public disclosure of the MiC-SSP. They have 2 large, cloaked orbital platforms, flying black triangle craft, and the ability to travel throughout our solar system. 2. The unveiling of ancient, high-tech ruins in Antarctica that have been newly excavated. This will prove that Atlantis was very real, and far more advanced than we thought. 3. The revealing of extremely ancient ruins, over 1.8 billion years old, within the Earth and throughout our solar system, often made of a crystalline transparent aluminum alloy. High-level tourists. A compilation of some of the prominent visitors to Antarctica over the past few years is very curious indeed. These high-level tourists include astronaut Buzz Aldrin, who was evacuated for a medical emergency, Secretary of State John Kerry during the peak of the U.S. presidential election, Russian Orthodox Patriarch Kirill, President Bill Clinton, Prince Harry, and the royal family of Spain. Russian President Vladimir Putin was also invited to visit Antarctica as well. Why are all of these high-level people rushing to the South Pole just to see ice and penguins? Could it be because of a massive anomaly lurking beneath ice, or a mysterious structure discovered. United States astronaut Buzz Aldrin tweeted an ominous message to the world using his official, verified Twitter account, then strangely deleted the tweet later. His words, "We are all in danger. It is evil itself," and showed a photograph of a pyramid located at the South Pole as shown here. Mr. Aldrin seems to be referring to this object, as seen in a serial photo from Google Earth. The predictive linguistics model. In his latest report, Cliff High uses a process he calls predictive linguistics to mine the internet and collects billions of data points to produce forecasts of the future. Predictive linguistics works to predict future language about, perhaps, future events, due to the nature of humans. It is my operating assumption that all humans are psychic, though the vast majority do nothing to cultivate it as a skill, and are likely unaware of it within themselves. In spite of this, universe and human nature has it that they leak prescient information out continuously in their choice of language. My software processing collects these leaks and aggregates them against a model of a timeline, and that information is provided in this report. Cliff High. I find his premise to be a fascinating one, and many people have confirmed that Cliff High's prognostication method has already produced some interesting results over the years. In a vacuum, by itself, I wouldn't put much faith in a single report of Antarctic disclosure. However, when one looks at the increasing momentum of information that has come out in recent years, one is forced to conclude something very strange is going on, and that it will likely reach a peak of the iceberg exposure moment in global consciousness in the very near future. The Antarctic Disclosure, Future World. Cliff High has labeled his latest report, Sci-Fi World, because the data he sees describing the next several years paints a picture of a world that is dramatically transformed by new discoveries and technologies, specifically what he refers to as the discovery in Antarctica, which is eventually made public, with leaks possibly beginning as early as 2017, then continuing to spread publicly into humanity at large well into 2018. This will end up being a multi-decade-long process. The powers that be, or ruling elites, will attempt to control access to this discovery for a short time, but the story will eventually get too big to hold back from the world. There will be a battle over how much, if, and when the information shall be released publicly. However, there will also be individuals who will take it upon themselves to awaken the world to the discovery. At first, TPTB will have the mainstream media debunk or decry this earth-shattering information to preserve the status quo in terms of education, religion, and the scientific community. New facts will emerge about human history, leading to a multi-decade-long look into the secrecy behind human origins. Historians and academics will fight against the acceptance of these new paradigms, which may lead to the death of several religions, Scientology included. This discovery will supposedly result in a massive archaeological dig, involving hundreds, perhaps thousands of people, the cooperation of multiple companies and countries, as well as military forces. Eventually, this discovery will lead to a tremendous boom of wealth for the world, as it will drive huge corporate investments in new technology. Interestingly, it will be the financial world that will demand the exposure of real facts and information, leading to global investment opportunities. Perhaps a corresponding disruption of confidence in global financial systems will be the catalyst to shake out the truth. This will transpire as the world faces the prospect of a global financial meltdown, making the technological boom of Antarctica imperative. The first and biggest commercial boom will be in energy research, the discovery of new technologies described as self-renewing and perpetual, but not as zero-point or zero-cost energy. There will be thousands of new technologies, impacting humanity for centuries to come. Cliff High claims that there will be various links between the Antarctica discovery and cabal black budget labs or breakaway groups. There will be a Mars connection. There will be a Nazi flying disc connection. There will be a CERN connection. There will be the discovery of warm air pockets deep beneath the ice. The danger of partial or controlled disclosure. There is also a potential dark side to this future scenario, a new vision by the global elite, or powers that be, suggesting that partial disclosure will be part of a controlled disclosure scheme by the elites to regain control over the planet. This echoes the information that Corey Goode and David Wilcock have put out, yet takes it one step farther. The powers that be will attempt to use extortion of national leaders' fears to control disclosure, and thus control the outcome of this game. Cliff High interprets TPTB's power-holding scheme this way. I am going to tell you a secret so deep and black ops scary that you will have to keep me here, safe and in my position of power, just to deal with the situation I am about to describe to you, but there is good news to be used to distract the populace so you won't get a lot of flack for what you will have to do. Perhaps this same power-holding scheme of extortion was foreshadowed by Buzz Aldrin's strange tweet and elite message to the world: we are all in danger. It is evil itself. What evil danger did they demonstrate to Aldrin before he suffered a heart attack and was rushed from Antarctica? There is no information as to whether this scary threat is real, illusion, or fabrication. Thus this devil's deal of partial disclosure would involve rewards in the form of Star Trek technology for the general population and a super-secret scary threat for the elite's middlemen, leaders and politicians who would steer us, and keep us under the elite's control. No doubt this would take the form of some external, hostile alien force, or alien AI, perhaps demonstrated by extraterrestrial false flag operations involving a black-budget secret space program or two. This is all speculation at this point. Cliff High believes that TPTB are in a bind and predicts an accelerated wave of awakening within the U.S. population over the next several years. This is driving them to desperation, to remain in the game. Antarctic disclosure may be their ultimate bid to regain some control over this evolving game. Golden Age, Golden Age. A partial, yet controlled disclosure, involving the release of new technology may lead humanity to the shore of a pseudo-utopia Star Trek-like world that is still very much under the thumb of global elites, especially if evolving technologies such as artificial intelligence, predictive programming, genetic manipulation, transhumanism, and virtual reality are used to further enslave humanity. What we then end up with is a golden age that is little more than a golden cage. Unless disclosure and awakening also include spiritual disclosure and a spiritual awakening, mankind's evolution will continue to be enslaved within the confines of the physical realm, separated from our higher spiritual being. The duality game will continue with fear being used as extortion, as a high-level control mechanism. Fortunately, the accelerating movement toward disclosure and awakening lessens the overall darkness in the world and increases the opportunity for higher vibration. The choice of direction, as always, is ours to make. TPTB can only slow down our ascension process, perhaps even serving those half asleep by making the transition less dramatic, which is divine irony. Thus the early years of the Aquarian Age may become a struggle to spiritual mature, to grasp our new technological power and freedom. By the midpoint, the counterbalancing forces of Leo should fully restore our sovereign humanity.